Hello everyone and welcome to my Mega Man 11 Any% tutorial guide. This will be a fairly intermediate level guide. This game is pretty demanding and I have a time currently, as of recording this guide series, of about 35-32. So these strats are aimed for people who are looking for a sub 40 time and pushing for sub 35. Now in this guide we're going to have first a playthrough of the stage at full speed, so if you want to use it as an example to see what most of the top strats look like, that's what this section is for. It will just play through at normal speed. You can use it at your discretion, and then afterwards I'll be explaining everything in detail and some tricks that I use. Now this route that I'm doing is Impact First, and this is the route that top runners are going to be shooting for. Now Impact First is a difficult start. Other runners have chosen Tundra First, but I'm not going to be looking at that route. Just bear in mind that this game is a tight platformer, so a lot of the jumps, no matter what route you go for, will have jumps like this one that are just precise, and there is no amount of trick explaining I can do that will make that easier for you, essentially. Those are things that you're going to have to sit down and practice a lot of these rooms. In this guide, I will be explaining why I do certain things like killing that enemy, what types of weapon drops you're looking for, where you're going to get your energy from, and then you can play around whether or not you choose to be shooting for luck in certain spots. Now, if anything I ever do is not the most optimal strat, which it's not, I shoot for consistency when I do my runs, but if I ever come across a section that I am losing time over another runner who is better than me, beyond me, and they feel like using that run in their strats, I will cover what those strats are. But for the most part, you're going to be seeing me executing strats that I'm comfortable with. So for example, this mini-boss can die within 7 jumps, but that's extremely precise. 8 jumps is pretty typical, and then 9 jumps is what I end up usually getting. And then this conveyor belt room is probably the most notorious room for Impact Stage. The trick itself requires very tight windows of opportunity using iframes, and then I actually did the easier ending here, but you can go for a faster one that I have done before, and I will show that off again later. And then my weapon energy was good, so I actually got to skip the weapon energy in the previous room, and then at the top of this room there is another strat that you can use to save time. It does save a solid chunk of time. I have not gone for it myself, but I will again use another runner's footage to illustrate how it's done. And you can decide whether or not you want to include that. This is the first stage, so if you feel like being a little bit more reset heavy, then by all means go ahead. But I like to think about run completion, and getting experience in the game overall helps me move forward. Now as for Impact Man himself, every boss has a formula, and you can only play around with certain aspects of it. So this is going to be the kill in its basic form. There is a damage boost variation of this kill that will save a couple seconds, because as you can see, Impact actually has to do a lot of moving around. And if you do this kill with damage boost, you can actually essentially bait him into staying on one side of the screen, so he doesn't move around much at all. So before we get back into the actual slowed down guide, I'm just going to talk about my controls for this game, because controls are extremely important. So on R2, I have my rapid fire buster bound. You can have at most 3 lemons on the screen. If you're by a wall, or if you're attacking an enemy directly, you can fire way faster than you could ever hope to by mashing this like as hard as you possibly could. You're just going to go way faster by having an R2 or any button. The reason why I have it on the shoulder is because I like having both of my fire buttons on the shoulder. So yeah, R2 is my rapid buster, and R1 is my regular buster. And the reason why I have it like this is so that I can worry about using, for example, rush coil or rush jet, or jumping. I could do all of those things independently of having my weapon charged the entire time. So that's important for me if I ever need to do any complicated maneuvers. That way my thumb can worry about doing these other things instead of having to hold down an attack button to have a buster charging. So yeah, X is my normal jump button. I left rush coil and rush jet at their defaults of triangle and circle on a PlayStation controller. L1 I actually have as my slide button. And that's because, again, instead of having to hold down and mash jump so that I could slide, I want to be able to jump out of slides at a whim. So, although it's entirely possible to do something like that, it's way less stress on my hand to have a slide button. L2 is my power gear. It was originally on L1. I just moved it up because I'd rather have L1 as my dash button, essentially. and square, instead of being my attack button, is my speed gear. These are things that you can kind of play around with a little bit more on your own. I just find them perfectly fine wherever they are. It doesn't matter too much to me. And rush coil being on triangle is only a little bit awkward for me, in the sense that if I want to jump and rush coil at the same time, I have to use essentially my thumb and my index finger to do so. If you want to put that on a shoulder button instead, you could do that. You can play around with the controls a little bit more yourself. But personally speaking, I always have R1 as my buster, R2 as my rapid buster, and L1 as my slide/dash button. When it comes to playing on a controller and you have all of these weapons at your disposal, you can push the right center button or the right stick button down to dequip it. But an easier way to do that, if you don't want to accidentally select the weapon while trying to dequip one, is by calling rush. So you can always have a weapon equipped and then call rush to disable that. Now this only works if you have enough energy to call rush. If you don't, then you won't be able to switch at all. And then in terms of weapon energy, for this stage, rush coil costs 4 energy, and it only is used up as you jump on him. So if you have less than that, then you'll still be able to call and use him, but it'll completely deplete your ammo, and that's how ammo works in this game. So long as you have enough to summon it at all. Like 1 is still enough for any amount, but they all use varying amounts. So rush coil, just make sure you have 4 ammo or less to be able to use it at least once. And with that brief explanation out of the way, let's get back into the stage. You should probably try and focus on building up a familiarity with levels in terms of like where your slides are going to end you up at. So at the beginning I'm doing 2 full slides, and then I wait a moment as I approach that Mentor with rapid fire buster held down, because he doesn't like to open up his helmet until you get a little bit close to him. That's the way these Mentors work, is that they wait until you're at a certain proximity before they try and attack you. So with this pickaxeman, I'm holding my rapid fire buster down, but I'm not holding it down the entire time. I take a small pause on the way up and down because I don't want there to be too many on the screen that are just going to completely whiff the axeman. And then you can cut that corner with a short hop. Now it's important on this screen transition that you're as far left as you can be, because you cannot land on anything by mistake at all as you're falling down this shaft. And partway down, as you see the next belt, you want to move to the right to avoid that platform, and then you'll be moving left again to immediately dodge the electrical barricade, then to the right again immediately so that you can land on the moving platform. This section is right at the beginning of the game, so just be grateful that you can practice it very quickly. So in this next room, I like to drop a regular buster on the first barricade, and then hold a rapid fire buster for the second 2 barricades. It just guarantees that 2 shots will come out in that brief instant. Rapid fire buster at the pickaxeman, and you'll blast through him relatively quickly, then slide through him, because again, sliding is just one of the fastest ways of getting around, so make sure that you're sliding at every given opportunity. This next room is a very tall room, and at the beginning of the room I like to jump and hold my rapid fire buster. You can cut this jump short if you want to save a couple more frames, but you're very likely to have that traffic cone enemy drop a missile at you if you don't do a full jump and hold the buster down. These jumps are fairly tight, but they're not so bad. I try to make sure I'm not holding the rapid fire buster too long, because I need to have rapid fire buster ready for when I attack the Mentor. Now for this damage boost to work, as you call rush, you're going to do a full jump. You can do a mid jump, but I've had success much higher with a full jump. I like to jump out to help bait the pickaxeman, and then once you push yourself flush against the wall, don't hold any directions. The axe should hit you in the back and should knock you forward. And from here, you're good to just walk forward and call rush. It's actually not faster to slide and then call rush. Just call rush as soon as you think you're able to jump on his back and climb up the ladder. So again, here's that whole room at full speed. Make sure you take out the Gonehead, call rush, do some jumps, take out the Mentor, bait the Axeman, and then take the damage in the back. It is possible to full charge Buster destroy that rolling gear enemy. It's a very small time save if you want to consider it. Now in this room coming up, we have a very tight jump that you have to make. Enter the room with a fully charged Buster and release it so that it actually hits both of these traffic cone enemies. Rapid Buster to destroy the missile. Now this is basically a ledge jump. I like to slide, and as soon as I see that Mega Man is essentially about to fall off is when I'll press the jump button. Some runners will actually walk out underneath that platform, and then they'll time their jump at a walking pace. It's up to you. It's up to whatever you're comfortable with. Again, this is just one of those tricks that's just, there's not much to it as a trick. It's just, it's difficult to do. Take a look again at full speed. Now as you drop down, it's important to have your buster charging because you're going to need it to take out this traffic cone enemy about halfway down the screen. Specifically with your shot, you want to release it so that it takes out the missile that's in the way. You can clear them out with a couple of pellets yourself, but you can see that I missed this rocket on the way down, which is going to cause me a little bit of trouble. So you'll be jumping up as soon as you round the corner, and then you can use your rapid fire buster. Just be careful of this missile if you've left it up to clear it out of the way. Then slide across the platform, go along the left side. Pickaxeman, take too many buster shots to kill with a rapid fire buster. Even if you're up in their face, you'd have to be stood in front of them for a little while. Now on the way up, if you're holding your full jump, you can actually call rush and he'll land before you. That's a little precise, so I usually, and my alternative is not much better, I land and jump and call rush as quickly as possible because that's the only way you'll be able to avoid the missile and the axe. Otherwise, you could just jump to the left and use rapid fire buster shots to take out the cone and jump back to the right to grab the ladder. So it's a very small time save, but that's again at your discretion if you'd like to include it or not. So this whole room again, very quickly. Drop down, aim your buster shot, be careful of any missiles, call rush, and get through as fast as you can. Now in the next room, if you have a charge shot going, you can actually take out this little weldy at the bottom of the screen. Its potential to give you a big weapon drop would be really nice. It's a little tricky, but you can also slide through him, so it's optimal if you can kill him and then slide through the spot before he manages to set the ground on fire. So as you land at the bottom of the room, you're going to drop a buster shot. And this is where clean movement matters because you have to get around this corner, land, rapid fire, and then kill him before he actually manages to set the ground on fire so that you can slide through that spot. I jumped because I wasn't sure if I had killed him before that fire had appeared, but you would save a little bit more time by sliding through. Next room has a couple uses of speed gear. You only need to tap it for a brief instant to be able to make these jumps. And these speed gears are specifically for the wheel enemies that are coming on screen. So if they're not on the screen, you don't need to be pressing it at that moment. But as I'm jumping over them, I tap it and then I move on with my life. And I try to have my buster held down just so I could use it on that traffic cone enemy at the end of the room. So yeah, use a rapid buster to clear out this guy. Then I start holding my charge, tap my speed gear, jump, tap my speed gear, call rush, and release the charge. I don't really have much to say about this next room. Just make sure you practice the movement through it. There's actually not a specific rush to get through this room because you have to be sliding as you reach the end of this platform. Otherwise, that part of Impact Man will hit you as you get around the corner. So you can go too fast and get hit there. As you drop into this room, you'll want to release a charge buster at the pickaxeman and then jump up, and then you'll only have about 3 more shots before you can clear him out. Now, when it comes to the bulldozer, my fight is not the cleanest fight. However, this is the basic gist of the strat, and so long as you can kill him without having to take an additional damage boost, then you've done just fine. So you can slide 3 times to get to the right side of him. You can get 4 jumps in with rapid buster shots before his arm comes around, and then you'll just take 2 jumps every time his arm swings. You'll want to practice timing the strength of your jump and when you press and hold the rapid fire button so that you don't have your lemons bouncing off of the body, because that will effectively cost you more time with how long it takes for that lemon to get off the screen and then be back in your hands essentially. So coming into the room, slide damage boost through the bulldozer, get 4 jumps to start, and then again you can finish this in 8 jumps pretty frequently. 7 jumps is incredible, but 8 and 9 jumps is essentially what you should expect of yourself. Now in this next room, you'll need to take a damage boost in the conveyor belt room, so make sure you have enough health for that. Grab the rush energy because it's pretty easy to get. Now everything about this room is very specific, so I only do 1 slide at the beginning of the room, and I've always had no problems with completing it otherwise. You'll want to jump over the Met and then get on the right side of this platform as you call rush. You want him to be a little bit closer to the right side, and then you want to inch even further to the right so that when you wake this Met up, you'll still be very close to rush after taking damage from his shot. You'll have to have a feeling for when you regain control of Mega Man, because as soon as you can, you need to jump, get a short hop off of rush, and the closer to the right side the better. This way you can quickly land on the spike platform. You're going to fire off your buster shot halfway up that jump, immediately jump off of the spikes, and then whether or not you hit that traffic cone enemy, you need to keep moving forward. As you jump up from here, you're firing 3 more buster shots, and then when you land on the moving platform, you're going to jump again. Make sure you get a nice big jump there so that you can fire 3 more buster shots at the pickaxeman. And then as you're landing, you want to align yourself on the right side. Call rush. You can give yourself just a brief moment to make sure you're aligned here because you don't want to miss this jump. And then once you land up on this platform where the pickaxeman once was, he should be dead at this point, you can either go for the faster strat, call rush, and get on the top platform, or if you're not comfortable with that, jump down to the lower platform, make sure you shoot that rocket out of the way, call rush, and then make sure that you are high enough to clear the jump with rush coil. If you accidentally had to use rush at any point earlier in the stage, you probably won't have enough energy for this room, unless if you were lucky enough to get drops at some earlier point. So I'm going to show off the two strats side by side, and on the right side you'll see the faster strat. So if you plan on doing spike jump, you only need 5 energy to finish the stage. If you're going to do the strat I'm going to show off, you'll need at least 9 energy, so consider that weapon tank if you need to pick it up. This is one of those rooms where if you want to try and milk it for a couple more slides, you can, but I've definitely died to being greedy trying to slide on those small platforms, so don't worry about it if you don't think you can do so without falling off. Now for the beginning of this next room, you'll want to be sliding as much as possible just so you can catch that first platform on the moving conveyor belt. I have a full buster charged and ready to go for this Mentor, so I don't have to worry about aiming or timing it. Now once you're up on this platform, just stay on the right side and call rush. You have a second to chill out. And once you can start to see the next platform you're jumping on is when you'll jump off rush. Call rush immediately, then jump off rush again for the final platform. And it is possible to do a spike jump to the left. I don't go for that. I will show it off in other runners' footage, but yeah, that's how you would finish up this room. Now again, I think this strat is completely insane. However, if you really want to go for it, just take a look at this footage. You are lining up Mega Man's right foot, essentially, with the ledge of the girder. So long as you can make it up onto this platform before it's reached its peak, you should have enough time to make that jump at your own discretion. And again, this is at the beginning of the run, so if you feel like this is something that you want to spend time going for, it does save about 2 seconds, so it is a fairly noticeable time save. It is just extremely tricky and precise. Alright, so we're going to go back and look at this section again, and we'll see side by side the two of them with Prisii's run on the right, my run on the left. Beginning very similar, but once it comes to the spike jump, you can see it does save a noticeable amount of time. It's just very scary. And then from here on out to the end of the stage, there isn't really anything in particular that needs to be discussed. However, you do want to consider Impact Man as we approach. If you still have some spare rush coil energy, you may use it as a backup in the fight at some point, but for the most part, this is a fight that does not require anything, as this should be your first stage, so you won't have any weapons of any sort to improve the fight with Impact Man. Now, in regards to boss fights, you can actually start the fight by holding down buttons, and the game will immediately press those buttons for you as soon as the fight begins. So I like to start the fight by holding power gear and my buster shot. He'll either jump or impact at the beginning of the fight. If he jumps, I slide and I get underneath him, get to the right side of him, jump, turn left, and with a full charge, I do a double buster shot to his back. And this is the first of 4 of his actions he'll do before he goes into his power gear phase. Again, don't know what he's going to do. I start moving to the right wall. He jumps, so the next 2 things that you have to do to him are a full buster charge shot and a set of lemons. It doesn't matter, just 1 buster hit will do. And he becomes, invincible to damage as soon as he takes any shots. So just hit him once and he's fine. He starts to charge, so I get ready to jump over him and I charge a regular buster up so that I can get a full blue buster on him. So at this point, I've hit him with a double buster, a regular buster, and a blue buster. And he has done 4 attacks, so he's going to do his one of his signature moves here. You can see that I got myself into a position to shoot him with the double buster. As he jumps, you don't want to hit him before or he'll go straight into power gear. It's better to go late than early in this case. If you accidentally whiff a shot, that's fine because you can finish the fight fairly quickly once he's in this particular move. A double buster shot from here will finish the job, and if you happen to whiff one of the shots, then just turn off your power gear, wait for a second, wait for him to land, and then do a double buster shot once he gets to the other side. So again, here's the fight from the beginning. I'm holding power gear, I have my regular buster, I react to his jump, get to the other side, double buster, rapid fire buster a couple times, one full charge blue buster, and then I wait, double buster as he jumps, and then double buster as he lands. And the last thing I'll be showing off is Carter's kill. Now this kill does depend on some RNG, so you need Impact to cooperate with you. In this example, we're going to see some good RNG where Impact starts with an Impact. So you're going to be opening the fight with a buster shot and he'll run straight into it. Once you recognize that you've gotten this beginning of the fight, then you jump over him and charge a double buster. Again, you're still trying to manipulate Impact so that he doesn't go into his power gear, so make sure you're following these steps specifically. So after a charge and a double buster, hit him with a single lemon, wait for his third attack. And this time, the moment his third attack finishes and his fourth attack starts, you're going to hit him with the double buster. And here, he can either jump or impact for his last move. Fire in such a way that your double buster will hit him regardless, and then if he impacts, jump over him. If he jumps, slide underneath him. But at this point, you're just trying to get off that last double buster shot. As soon as it's ready, fire away because that'll end the job. Now in this variation we'll see a bunch of damage boosting as Carter does not get good RNG at the beginning of the fight. So once you see Impact has decided to jump, fire a lemon, make sure that you're on the ground. This actually makes it so that Impact attacks more quickly. This essentially allows him to know that you're stunned, so he's going to try and take advantage of that. Charge up a regular buster shot and then go ahead and fire away at him, then get through him once he has started to make his move into the corner again. Fire off one more double buster shot as this will be his fourth move, and then he will start his signature attack. So you want to do another double buster shot as he jumps up, and then you'll be finishing him off as he falls down.
Yeah, that's a 1720. That's really good.
So I'm just going to go ahead and let this video wrap up by showing off Carter's good RNG kill once more, and I will see you next time with Tundraman stage. Take care. Thanks for watching.